I want to ask you to please give a rowdy Bay Area, like you haven't been one of these events in a very long time, welcome to Mina Kim and Alexis Madrigal.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Forum Live. I'm Mina Kim.
And I'm Alexis Madrigal. And this is Fantastic Negrito!
How's everybody feeling tonight? How you feeling tonight? Hello, Maria. How you feeling tonight? I want to ask you the question that I had during all this madness. I said, have you lost your mind yet? Yet? No! Ready up. Listen, have you lost your mind yet? Get free tonight. Tell all of your friends to come over and get free tonight. Clap your hands in time and get free tonight. Look, the whole world is watching you and get free tonight. Let your mind, body, and soul feel it tonight. Let your mind, body, and soul feel it tonight. Woo! Come on. Have you lost your mind yet? Get free tonight. My people, my teachers, my soldiers, and get free tonight. You gotta watch out, 'cause when the bomb drops, are you ready? And get free tonight. I want you to shake your body till you lose your mind. Let your mind, body, and soul feel it tonight. Let your mind, body, and soul feel it tonight. You're about to get ready before the news is out. You're about to get ready before it. Now we're feeling all right. It's almost over, y'all. Make sure you enjoy yourself. And I love most of you. All right. It's all right if you lose your mind. As long as you find it, I find it every day. In a world that's gone mad sometimes, you know what we got to do? Well, we thrive off it. Take that bullshit and turn it into good shit. You know what the obstacles are? The obstacles become the fuel. All right. Now I'm talking to you, the people that try but love in their hearts. I got a little something to tell you. Y'all weird like me? Bring weird back. I grew up weird, out of place, out of time, yeah. Dress how I want to. To all my nine-legged friends, spines made of rhythm, souls made of ribbon, sliding to the river, trying to make a living with all that you've been given. Out of control like Vincent Van Gogh, penniless and broke. Oakland, California. Smoke, 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 smoke. You're about to get ready for the news is out. Y'all about to get ready. I'm looking for power, 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 power. Thank you. Something like that. I always told people about San Francisco, you know. It's an ever-changing city. You know, about 5-6 years ago when I used to play at a Powell Street BART station, the Mission, you know, it was the hardest place to play. Because I thought if you got a song, you think it's good, then go play it for people in San Francisco who don't care. That's how you test your songs out, because they don't care. If you can stop them coming off the BART, you got a song. So I knew this whole Fantastic Negrito thing, you know. I said, go to San Francisco. They'll let you know. They'll let you know. Fires. We'd fly back from Europe every year and there was fires. We'd see fires coming back. 1, 2, 3. When I be rolling through California, I got so much on my mind, on my mind. Every time I'm rolling through California, I got so much on my mind. Well, you better pack your bags, better get out fast. Rolling through the California smoke ash. Well, everything's gone in the wink of an eye. Look at the bloodshot sun on an orange sky. Well, can you hear the sound? It's pointing to the ground. Well, I can hear the sound when I be rolling through California. I got so much on my mind, on my mind. I be rolling through California. I got so much on my mind. Well, everything's charged, property and cars. Try to get away, but I didn't get far. You know the air quality is looking bad. And look, everybody outside is wearing a mask. Well, Mama, can you hear the sound? It's pointed to the ground. Well, I can hear the sound. Every time I be rolling to California, I got so much on my mind, on my mind. I be rolling to California, I got so much on my mind. We used to laugh 5 years ago today, it never was this way. We used to laugh and point at Arizona while they played with their guns. We laid out in the sun. Oh, how heavenly our paradise was. Well, Mama, can you hear the sound? It's pointed to the ground. I can hear the sound. Every time, bring it on. It's pointed to the ground. I can hear the sound. Wow! Every time I'll be rolling to California, I got so much on my mind, on my mind. Every time I'm rolling to California, I got so much on my mind. I'll be rolling to California. That's right.
That was Rollin' Through California. Before that, Chocolate Samurai.
Yes.
Tell us, Fantastic, who's on stage with you tonight?
Well, we've got some incredible people on stage. We got Brian Simmons on the keyboard. We have James Smalls on the drums. We got Scotty Thompson on the bass. And mi gente de Chile, Tomás Salcedo on la guitarra. Speak a little Spanish.
And we'll be hearing more from them after the break.
Actually, we're not taking a break. You guys know that, right? But if you know the show, this is where we're gonna.
Yeah.
Eventually, we will have the break.
Right.
And now we'll reset. Go ahead, Mina.
Yes. Welcome back to Forum Live. We've got Fantastic Negrito and his band. I'm Mina Kim.
And I'm Alexis Madrigal. And now we're gonna hear some new songs from a new album. We want to know what inspired this new album.
Well, do we have enough time for that?
We'll get into it. Give us a little capsule version.
I mean,
Yeah.
basically, there's a lot of time during the break, and I found out that I was 27% white. And that started an album, because I'm like, 27? Where? You know, but yeah, that's what it is. Basically about that. I mean, we're all connected. We're all affected, and some of us are selected. I mean, you want me to give you some more on it?
We'll get into it a little more, but tell us a little bit about the song you're about to play.
Well, the song I'm about to play right now, it's got a funny name. It's called Nibba-Dip. I make up a lot of crazy ideas and songs in my head because I'm like, be yourself. One thing I learned about growing up in the Bay Area is to be yourself, embrace yourself, and it's a beautiful thing. So it's about this crazy white woman that I discovered that is my 7th grandmother. Yeah, I went back far. She was crazy. And she did some amazing things, and she caused 6 generations of free black people in my family coming to the 1700s, from the 1700s. So I discovered her on the computer in a hotel in Atlanta. And I was discovered because it was so much time. I'm working on a show. Me and E40 did a song, and he was like, I'm not going to Atlanta. And I'm like, well, I'll go because you're a millionaire. I'm not. I'm a hundredaire. So I was in that room, and it was very strict protocol. I didn't have a vaccine yet. I am vaccinated. Sorry, it's me. Let me do what I do. You do what you do, but do it far away if you're not vaccinated. Anyway, so yeah, I was in that room, and I was just discovering my life, man. It was like I found out in that room, like, I'm not who I thought I was, but I'm exactly who I need to be. And that was a big thing, and that started these songs, and that started a whole new album and a whole new realization of just who we are and the construct of race and all these words that are like trigger words, like white supremacy and all this shit, like white privilege, all these things, victim, blame, perpetrator, accountability. I was like, whew. It just put me into that ocean, and it's been beautiful just basking in that ocean and soaking up all the energies from my Scottish white grandmother and her partner. You gotta remember, she's Scottish, I'm black. So guess who her partner was? Yes.
That is so wild, but let's do it. Yes. Nibbidip.
Nibbidip, girl, you out there on your own. They dragged my grandmother into court on May 4th. I think it was a cloudy, rainy day, 1759. When I found that paper, it said, my grandmother, Elizabeth Gallimore. Didn't say my grandmother, but it said Elizabeth Gallimore. And I'm like, Gallimore? Presented in Amelia County Courthouse. And that's not her. That's my third grandmother, and that's what started it. Because I was like, why is she dressed that nice during time of slavery? What I found out is that there was about 50,000 free black people in Virginia alone during this time, which I just didn't know. I just always believed the narrative, we're the slave, you're the master. And I think that is, hate to say it, it's not that black and white. So I just wanted to figure out, how did they get free? And when I traced it all the way back to Elizabeth Gallimore, and I found that document that changed my life. Elizabeth Gallimore, presented in Amelia County Courthouse, 1759 in Virginia, for unlawfully cohabitating with a Negro slave belonging to Henry Jones. I'm like, Henry motherfucking Jones. I'm gonna see your ass. But no, none of that. But it was all right. It was interesting. But I started writing about it. Want to hear it? Here it goes.
Girl, we out here on our own. Girl, we out here on our own. Talk about a love, talk about a life. From Scotland, Africa to VA. Grandma Gallimore, she fell in love with a man that had no name. He said, please don't sell me, 'cause I'm in love with a woman. Freedom's in her eyes. She gon' listen to me. Come on, give it. Girl, we out here on our own. Say, girl, we out here on our own. Don't get that sing a little louder. Girl, we out here on our own. They flip it, they say, girl, we out here on our own. And they dragged her into court on May 4th, on a cloudy, rainy day. Told her love's against the law to my grandpa in Amelia County, VA. He said, please don't sell me, 'cause I'm in love with a woman. Freedom in her eyes. am a human, yes. Wow! Say, girl, we out here on our own. Girl, we out here on our own. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Girl, we out here on our own. Girl, we out here on our own. And that was the story. That was the story of my seventh generation grandparents. I started writing this album. I shouldn't say the name of the album yet, as some of you may panic. It happened before. I remember, when I announced the last days of Oakland, people panicked in Oakland. And there was a room full of hipsters. And they didn't realize that hipsterness was going to end. And you was going to need $1 million to live in Oakland. So I think, we don't have EMT standing by. I won't say the name of this incredible story, true story, that changed my life that I wanted to give to you. Why? I'll tell you why. One thing I really felt them tapping me. I was picturing them, Scottish white woman. She was an indentured servant, and she's probably like doing the housework, and she'd probably seen, grandpa out there, maybe shirt off, just glistening, looking good, looking chocolatey, sexy. She ain't never seen that before. You ain't never seen that before. They ain't got that in Scotland. They got haggis, but they don't have chocolate and sexy. So I just imagined that, and they were just like, grandson, you're the craziest out of all the offspring. You tell the story because you have the means to tell it. And so I wanted to tell their story, and I think what they're trying to tell me to tell you is this. And I can say it probably in a sentence, which is rare for me. They're saying this. In 1759, how did white grandma approach the construct of white supremacy? It was pretty big back then. She was like, well, I love this person. They may kill me. And grandpa, I call him, I don't know his name because it says unnamed Negro slave. So I call him Grandfather Courage, because that union took some courage. But here's the message. I lied, it wasn't a sentence. Here's the message. The message is, if they could do that and survive, and my crazy ass is standing up here, what is y'all problem with the fighting? Compartmentalizing, this group, that group, that group, this group, that group. I don't get it. When they survive, 7 generations later, I'm here. And this handsome guy, we made a movie. It's 45 minutes about the entire incident. And this guy plays my grandfather because he's good looking. I didn't know he was good looking. I've been playing with him. I thought I was the good looking guy in the group. So I've been like the ugly drummer, just put him back there. But we actually shot a scene with him. We shot a scene and my wife was like, more of him. More of him. I was like, what? I'm competitive. I was mad.
But I had to admit, he looked great, so he plays Grandpa. So this gentleman right here, this next song, which is part of the story, this is the paternal side of my mother, and they were enslaved people. And this gentleman was from Atlanta, and I didn't know that I had relatives in Atlanta, and that's how the story came when I was in Atlanta. Because marrying my father, that was like joining a cult for my mother. That's another album. But so, you know, my dad was 33 years older than my mother. So, you know, I'm the 8th of 14 kids. So my dad knew what he wanted. I don't know if my mother knew what she wanted, but my dad did. But that's my third grandfather, born a slave and an enslaved person, because everybody's born free. And yeah, I made it. And I look at him and think about commodities, 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 slaves, sugar, gold, rum, Ferraris, iPhones, commodities, commodities. Maybe it was like the mafia. Maybe it wasn't personal, it was business. I think of so many things. I look at their faces and his wife. And I thought that, damn, everything goes to the highest bidder in America.
Well, I said the same thing to myself every day, the same thing to myself. I said, what's going on with this here? Said the same thing to myself every day, the same thing to myself. I said, what's going on with this here? That bank is a serial killer, trying to build more prisons for your children. That doctor's a drug dealer, gotta make a profit, gotta make a killing. Everything goes to the highest bidder. 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 Fake it the same way that you do every day, the same way that you do. I say, what's going on with this here? I fake the same way that you do every day, the same way that you do. I say, what's going on with this here? Technology beats the spiritual dead. Fantasies that live inside your head. Bam! Wait now, you can't go. Wait now, you can't go. Wait now, you can't go home no more. Everything goes to the highest bidder. 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 Boom, 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 boom. Don't you have to turn it up? We going to have to turn it up. I don't think they hear you. We going to have to turn it up. We going to have to turn it up. I say the same thing myself every day, the same thing myself. I say, what's going on with this here? Say the same thing to myself every day, the same thing myself. I say, what's going on with this here? Boom shot, boom shot, boom shot, boom shot, boom shot, boom shot, boom shot. Oh.
highest bidder. Give it up for capitalism. Give it up for capitalism. I mean, oh shit. I didn't make this stuff up. Somebody had an idea. Like we can fool people. I know what we can do. They thought this. I was there. When a company comes into town, when a factory comes into town, people feel happy because that means jobs, security, dignity. But what happened when the plantations came into town? People didn't think about that. Those companies came with workers. Good for the guy who owned the plantation. Bad for white people. No jobs. I mean, they got this big factory. No cotton picking union for you. Well, we've got tradesmen. But guess what? We have something for you. And you're gonna like it. It's gonna make you feel good. It's called white supremacy. See, you're better. You're better than them. Poor white people. They're animals. You're white. Go with that. But wait a minute, no jobs, no security, can't share in the equity, can't get a sandwich. No. You got that going. You take that and you ride it. But my grandmother said no. My grandpa said no. Because they knew I was coming. I'm in therapy for some of this. Recovering narcissist. Recovering. But I could imagine Grandpa on Virginia soil. Show my ancestors. 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 Oh, good morning, we come home. Grandpa had courage. Imagine everybody in the slave quarters going to sleep, but not Granddaddy had somewhere to go. And old Grandma Elizabeth Gallimore waiting for her love, waiting for her life. She was an indentured servant, so it all backfired. The laws, they like laws. If you were a woman, whatever your child was, that was the status of what your ass was. Think about that. That means you could rape whoever you wanted to. It's not even a date. And that child would be born a slave. But they never thought Elizabeth Gallimore would come along. An indentured servant. And the law said, kids are an indentured servant, which meant freedom. I asked my grandmother about this picture, and they just never, they did, I don't know if they didn't know, they just like, yeah. I was like, Grandma, but Lincoln looks white. I was in the South, and the neighbors had outhouses. I'm 53, I'm old. It was in the 80s, the neighbors had outhouses, but we had all this property. And we had these photographs, but I couldn't put it together. It took me 30 years. It was free. Why didn't Grandma tell me that? She made hints. She would say, son, we didn't have to ask nobody for nothing. And that helped me become a man. Nothing wrong with that. Empathy, compassion, love, hard work. And man, I grew up in these streets. I buried my brother when he was 14 years old. Bullet ripped his head open. Me and Mama washed the blood off the carpet. I grew up here. But Grandpa saw the light. You can go, Grandpa. Go, Grandpa, but you better not get caught. Oh, you better not get caught. Oh, wait until the sunlight, sunshine, I know. You better not get caught, Grandfather. Coast is clear. It's a beautiful night. Elizabeth, I'm coming. Oh, Betty, I'm coming for you. We're gonna make love. Oh, Betty, I'm coming for you, child. We're gonna make love. Oh, you know, gonna make love. They say, you better not get caught sneaking around here. No, sneaking around here, no. We both know better, but we just can't stop scratching and sniffing this itch around here. No. You say, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get out of here someday. Say, freedom will come. I know one day, I'm sure that freedom will come. Freedom will come. I know one day, I'm sure that freedom will come. You say, freedom will come. I know one day, I'm sure that freedom will come. Say, freedom will come. I know one day, I'm sure that freedom will come. Freedom. When the sun goes down, this is when we get up. Coming for you, running for you, humming for you, baby girl. When the sun goes down, is when we get up. Mama, don't you know that I'm coming for your child? We're making love all night long. Oh, just sweet love all night long. We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get out of here someday. Freedom will come. I know one day, I'm sure that freedom will come. Freedom will come. I know one day, I'm sure that freedom will come. Freedom will come. And I know one day, I'm sure that freedom will come. Freedom will come. I know one day, I'm sure that freedom. You see, better get it call before they find out I'm missing. Then I'm coming on back to you. Better get back before they find out I'm missing. Then I'm coming on back for you. I bet Granddaddy was smooth like me. Hardly, say. whisper in her ear, say, don't you worry, Elizabeth. Betty, say, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get out of here someday. Say, freedom will come. I know one day I'm sure that freedom will come. Freedom will come. I know one day I'm sure that freedom will come. Say, freedom will come. And I know one day I'm sure that freedom will come. Freedom will come. I know one day I'm sure that freedom will come. Thank you.
Negrito! We're going to sit down and talk more after a real break this time. But you know, this is Forum, so you're always part of the conversation with us. So there are question cards. You got those somewhere? People got their question cards? No question cards. Well then, we'll just make it up on the fly. How about that? That seems good. Just raise your hand, maybe. Well, we'll figure it out from up there. For now, stay tuned for more. After this little break, we're going to get up there. Okay, wow. That was also an amazing sermon, in addition to everything else that was going on. Good. Oh, you want to get the iPad?
I think we're figuring out the situation with cards. Instead of that, what we'll do is we'll have a microphone out in the audience, and so if you have a question, you can raise your hand, and someone with a microphone will come to you to ask that.
Could I be like Phil Donahue and run out there?
You want to,
No.
don't you? You definitely want to. Okay, fine. You can do it.
I'll do it. I love that.
We'll
yeah.
do that.
Told you I was old, Phil Donahue.
That's right.
Old, man. Old. I love it, though. Got to embrace that age.
Yeah. All right, now some fake radio stuff. This is Forum Live with Fantastic Negrito. I'm Alexis Madrigal, joined here by Mina Kim. We're with the Grammy award-winning musician whose albums include The Last Days of Oakland, Please Don't Be Dead, and Have You Lost Your Mind Yet? He's also the founder and owner of Storefront Records, record label based in West Oakland, and he's back with us sharing this new album that we've been hearing some of today. I think Mina wants to kick us off a little bit because she, way back in time, was one of the first people to interview Fantastic Negrito.
I don't think I was the first, but I know that a lot has happened since we talked in 2015.
Yes.
Because you were right off your NPR Tiny Desk concert win back then. Yeah. And
Best
I
show
mean,
ever in
I
a freight
feel-
elevator.
right.
Yeah.
And I feel a lot of love for NPR that they recognize
Yeah.
the talent that you are, and a lot has happened for you in that time. I mean, 3 Grammys, your own record label, a key to the city of Oakland, too.
What can I do with it?
I was about to say, does it open
I
anything?
know.
Can I get an ice cream cone with this motherfucker?
But
Ice
what?
cream cone. But I love it, though. I'm joking. I joke a lot. So just don't be offended. It's okay. I like that, too.
What has the ride been like? I mean,
I mean,
crazy.
you know, one thing I learned being the 8th of 14 kids, and I ran away when I was 12 because my father was really into religion and I wasn't, so it didn't mix well. I just learned that as I've lived that it's not about me. You know, it's about the people that helped me get there. That's what all this is about. I think when I even started out playing Being Fantastic Negrito in like 2013, 2014, I remember people telling me, first of all, tell me if I'm talking too much too. When you're the 8th of 14 kids, you talk a lot, or you don't eat. Or get clean underwear, clean socks, man, you gotta talk first, man, you gotta get out of that bathroom, gotta take a shower, I gotta take a shower too, I gotta get a bath, let me get the last sip of water and the last sip of milk, you understand what I'm saying? Ride with me now. So what happens there is that you have to let people in. And that's when I walked down the street and played for just people, because record label people were like, you're too old. You're 47. Your music's genre non-specific. What is this? We don't get it. We can't market it. We can't blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So I thought that journey had to be for all of us. And I was always, growing up in the Bay Area, I was always the weird kid. When I was in West Oakland, I had leopard skin cowboy boots, one leg bleached white, the other one orange, with a 10-gallon cowboy hat. And I just felt the spirit of freedom, and people didn't turn me down for that. The hardest gangsters were like, man, all right, like you a brave N-word. Because that's, you know, people, we talk like that. So I was like, I got a pass, and I felt a lot of love from everybody, from Chinatown, from Fruitvale, East Oakland, West Oakland, the rich people up in the hills, like wherever. I have those same friends to this day. So long way to answer the question. It's about these people, you know, because I ain't nothing without them. And it's about the forum and what y'all do. We all are in this success, in this ride together. So how's the ride been for you? That's what I'm saying. It's like it's us. I'm driving, but, you know, we right there in the passenger, and all that's, you know, it's beautiful.
Well, we want to hear a little bit about the stuff that you are doing in the community. Okay. You know, we want to hear about the record label. We want to hear about, like, the shows that you've been doing and what you've been doing for people in West Oakland. Well,
again, I don't want to take the credit like, what am I doing? It's like I'm doing like what I'm supposed to be doing, which is contributing. And contributing is a beautiful thing for selfish people. It's like the medicine that you need. For people that's like, hey, what about me? Isn't this all about me? What I've been doing is just, I was standing in the parking lot with Sting. Wasn't a record label yet.
It happens all the time, you know?
No, but he was here. Anyway, he was in San Francisco, and he was like, man, this is like the beginning. So we went in, we recorded a song for what was going to be the record label, which I didn't know yet. And he was just telling me about. He loved the space that I was in, and maybe because he's a gazillionaire, he just was. And then I started looking at the space, going like, this is a great space. Like, what can we do with it? Was the question. And so I decided to start a record label, open up a market monthly, so that the residents and the restaurants suffering and the people in the neighborhood could come make some money. You know what I mean? So I was like, y'all come, no charge. Please just come to my space, make some money. Then I feel better. So a lot of things I'm doing, even with the record label, working with artists and put the record out with Sting that'll be coming, and my record too, is that reaching out and just seeing what kind of partnerships. It's like building with people that want to build. So I don't deserve credit for that. That's all.
What's Revolution Plantation?
Revolution Plantation! You got to do it. My nephew always does that. That's why. So it's between me and him. Bomani, wherever you are. So that is about my grandmother. A lot of this stuff is about my grandmother. Those people in the South, they were the wisest people. I didn't know at the time. Because I was just a kid sitting there, grandma talk, I pressed the record, and I still got these tapes, old tapes, and they're just like talking, and you know, they thought I was white in New York, so I got the job, you know, they thought I was Italian. They got some incredible stories, and, you know, we didn't have to ask the white people for anything, and that stayed in my mind, like, you didn't have to, because I was like, Grandma, what was Jim Crow like? And she's like, no, we got together with your grandfather, my great-grandfather, they had neighbors. They all had their hogs, that's what she called them, and they had their cows, and they worked together, and they were independent, and I didn't know that was going to lead me to grow a lot of weed.
Neither did she, maybe.
No, but it's still the same concept, because she's like, no, when I started this Negrito thing, it was like, I quit music. I just quit. I just hated it. I didn't want to play anymore. I was like, sold all my equipment, and I had these fantastical dreams of living this incredible life as a farmer. So I called one of my homies, Malcolm, that I grew up with, and I'm like, man, we're 40. This is all pre-Negrito. He goes, yeah, we're 40. Like, how you feeling? He goes, I'm broke. And I said, I'm not broke yet. I got some money left, and I moved back from LA. And I was like, listen, I got an idea. I quit all music. He's like, what? I quit, dude. I sold everything. He goes, all right, grow that weed. And I'm like, you keep being a writer. So he kept on being a writer. I kept growing the weed. Every month, I'm like, thousands. I got so much money. Weed was going for $4,200 a pound back then. Some of y'all, whoever grew weed? Remember about 10 years ago, indoor, $4,200 a pound? Okay. So anyway, Tomas knows because he worked at the dispensary that I would sell to, BPG, right? So anyway, so this is what happens. This is the revolution happens quietly. It happens quietly. Stop talking about it. I'm giving him money. People are like, why are you giving him money? What is this money for? I want him to write. You write, young man, you write. One day he calls me up, he goes, hey man, I don't need the money anymore. I'm like, I like that. Like, why? And he goes, man, I got some stupid show. Ooh, I may get in trouble for that. I got some show, edit that. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know, man. That's how he talks. I'm like, what is it? He says, it's called Empire. He's like, he says, it's like, if you're old enough, it's like the Black Dynasty. I don't know. And then it became the #1 show, I think, in the world. And so he calls me back and he goes, hey, man, he goes, what are you going to do? I'm like, what do you mean what I'm going to do? I'm happy. I'm growing weed. He goes, nah, you got to do something. I'm like, what am I going to do? He's like, you got to be a musician again. I'm like, no. But I teamed up with the right person. I think that's what this long-ass talk is going about. What am I doing? Like teaming up with the right people. So then he says to me, I got you. I'm like, you got me? He says, stop growing the weed. Give it to our friend. I'm like, I wanted to sell it to our friend, but that dude's a fuck up. So when I gave it to him, the whole operation, 3 buildings, you know what I'm talking about, indoor, wasn't stealing the power. I wasn't stealing the power. Listen, I have the PG&E bill for $3,000 a month. I was not stealing the power. PG&E loved me, no questions. So what happens, I gave it to my friend who's a fuck up. He fucks it up. Then he got caught cheating 7 times. And that's a whole nother thing, but I put him on my record. So anyway, he's giving me money to be Fantastic Negrito, like as a homie, just like I gave him money as a writer. So we're 2 old dudes, like, well, what should we do? And he goes, well, what do you want to play? I was like, well, I listen to like Delta Blues. He's like, what's that? I'm like, I like Skip James. He's like, who's that? He said, send it to me. So I sent him, I was like, that music, I'm like, I could never play like them because they're geniuses, and I don't even want to because that's not my language. And he said, I don't get it. He said, where are the drums at? I'm like, I was just like, the drums are in their hands. The whole band is in their hands. So he's like, do you love it? I go, yep, do it. I got you. So I started playing. Nobody wanted to, they're like, you're crazy playing this music. So clubs are like, people want to join a band? You suck, homie. So I just played outside of the club. you know what I'm saying? And I had the support of people. I can't do anything without the support of people. And I just want to keep saying that because I think it can really pull us out of this rut that we're in if we realize how much value like the people right next to you have.
This is a perfect segue to audience questions. We got Phil Donahue up here who's going to run out there and give you a mic. Who's ready for a question? Anybody out there? Oh, wait, we got one right here in the front.
Man,
Make it easy for you.
Whole thing.
Make it easy for you, right here.
Damn. It's all right, come on, man. You kicked out of the band.
I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about how you all came together, everybody in the band, because you guys are awesome.
Well, I can answer that question. Thank you very much. Give it up for the band. So nobody wanted to give me a gig, Fantastic Negrito. People were like, the marketing person that I met, he was like, Xavier, Fantastic Negrito, it's a terrible name. I'm like, why? He goes, his name was Jack. He goes, white people, we don't like saying the word Negrito. It makes us uncomfortable, man. I'm your friend, I'm trying to tell you. And I was just like, it makes white people uncomfortable? Where I sign? And so I thought, like, for those white people, I thought they need to be like, I grew up with Latinos, Mexicans, Salvadorians. I grew eating in their house, sleeping over, Michael Garcia. I mean, I heard that word 1,000,000 times on records. Negrito, Negrito, so I was like, they don't sound mad. So it's all good. So that was the first challenge. So I used to go to places like First Friday. Who remembers First Friday? So I used to go to First Friday with a guitar, and I'd go up to the stage, any stage, like, okay, ready to go on. They're like, wait, who are you? I'm like, who am I? I'm Fantastic Negrito. I'm like, it's not. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I've caused a scene, man. I'm supposed to play. They told me to come down here, and so he was running the stage, and I think you saw. What did you see out there that day? Tell him.
Well, basically, he had brought these group of musicians there, and he seemed dressed to do it. So I was like, okay, let him do it because he dressed better than I did. So he started. So yeah, he played a set, and then I was like, I think that we don't need any other musicians after this, you know. And then it ended right after you finished too.
Right, and then it did end, and then I remember he was a stoner with a long beard, and he was like, we jammed afterwards on 25th and Broadway. Anybody ever see us on 25th and Broadway? Couple people, yeah, you know. It came a long way, baby. I'm gonna buy you a sandwich. Yeah, so anyway, but and I remember he was just like this, beating on the bongo like this. I'm like, this guy's crazy. I'm playing, he's just playing a bongo drum, then he tells me, hey man, I play guitar. What did I say?
I said, no, you don't.
True story, then he started coming around and, you know, he just was supportive, amazing. Whatever needed to be done, this guy would do it. And I just like, I feel like we're brothers, like, because we know, like, hey, you got to sweep the floor, sweep the floor. Take out the trash, take out the trash. You want to play the banjo, whatever it takes. And so I really respect and admire that character. And I used to call him the Chilean, because I haven't really called you that lately because it's got old, but because I was like, I don't know any Chileans. I never met a Chilean.
Wait, are you actually a Chilean, dude?
He's Chilean.
Okay, just making sure.
Are you Chilean?
No, I'm Mexican, but.
Oh, you're Mexican, yeah. So I used to just call him the Chilean, and then he's been with me the longest out of anybody. He's seen it all. 8 to 80, blind, crippled, or crazy. He's been there. So this guy, let me go around. Let me do seniority. The next guy would be James Small. He's always laughing because he thinks I'm going to say something crazy. I'm not. I mean, he was just one of the baddest drummers out there. By the way, if anybody is crazy enough to buy into my records, I always don't use like live drums. But on this record, I use the live drummer because I just thought it was time to do something different. So this album is different. So this guy was just such a talented genius at playing the drums. Everything we played, he'd play to a click, solos, whatever, to a click. You want to be a good drummer? Play to a click. You get hired.
Can I ask what that means?
Oh, it means like a metronome. Practice that every day. He can do it, whatever style that you want to play, he can do it. So we've been playing together, what, like 4 years? 5 years? Shit. Been around the world, toured in a bunch of countries, and it's been a lot of fun. Played on 6 continents, I think. So his name's James Small, and he's an actor too, and he's playing my grandfather in the new movie, which is called. And his girlfriend is this beautiful, what do they call it, like white people, like strawberry blonde girl that looks Scottish. And I'm like, guess what? You're playing my grandmother. So I've hired all my friends. And they're good. They're good. So anyway, so James, he's incredible. He's a kind of a local legend. How many people heard of James Small? A couple of musicians, yeah, they know, yeah. All right, so then we got, I'll give everybody nicknames. I call him the Professor. Brian Simmons. Now, I don't know how honest I should be on this one, because feelings may get hurt of other people. I won't say it, and I won't. He's like, no, okay. So anyway, a lot of these guys have, in 5 years, let me just see. Married. In 5 years, engaged. Yesterday, engaged.
Congratulations.
Engaged. Everybody's just getting married. I'm like, this is Fantastic Negrito and the Married Men.
Well, actually, we got a question someone who's engaged. My fiance is visiting me next week from Japan.
Oh,
Where would-
arigato. Nihongo skoshi.
Where would you recommend taking her in Oakland?
I would recommend any restaurant that Chikara Ono owns because he just is incredible. And he did cook for Sting. When Sting came in, Sting was like, "Oh, do you do this every day?" And he was laughing. I was like, "No, I don't, but I could if you drop some money to me." But so he's incredible. What's the name of his restaurants? I was just on that show with him. Check, please. Get paid. Check, please. Please check.
Watch Check, please. Just watch Check, please. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so you just look up his restaurants, which is Dello Curry. Whew, amazing. And then he's got one in Alameda. It doesn't even have, you know, when they don't put the name on it? Oh, my God. It's like you're in Japan. It is stupid good. An incredible, incredible Japanese experience. I usually live in Japan about a month out of the year, but I haven't recently because of COVID. So yeah, that's my thing.
We got another audience question, which is, what are you most excited about as you launch Storefront Records?
Well, what am I most? I'm most excited that from what my grandmother says, we ain't gotta ask nobody for nothing. It's like we can really produce the kind of art that we want to produce, and you know, working with like a group. I don't want to talk too much on them now to be the first. Well, second, because the first release was with the amazing, sensational singer. Help me. Miko Marks here. I'm 53. And I got kids, so I call my kids different names. Miko Marks, dementia's coming. Just be nice to me when it happens. So yeah, I'm excited about that, the freedom. Like we want to make a film. When I went to LA, they saw the title, they was like, we're not making this film. So I was like, well, we'll make it. So people have supported Storefront Records. People. Once again, I just keep coming back to people. So we can put out the kind of artists that we want to put out. Doesn't matter how old they are, how young they are, how glamorous they are, how beautiful they are, how much they weigh, what ethnicity they are. Just an artist that contributes something. And that's what we're most excited about at Storefront.
Can we hear a little bit about this film, too? What can you tell us about it?
Well, the film is, it's kind of like, have you seen Beyonce's Lemonade? So it's like Beyonce, well, I hadn't seen it, I'm not cool. I miss everything. So it's like Beyonce's Lemonade-ish kind of meets with a true story. That's the thing, like a real story about 7 generations ago. Elizabeth Gallimore hooks up with my granddad and has 7 generations of free children. So there's some social commentary within that to bring it into, what's the word I learned? Modernity. My brother's a PhD. And so he found out she was a indentured servant. I thought she was just on the plantation, the dude's wife. But he was like, he's a nerd. He's like, no, she's an indentured servant, you know? And so that's what it's about. So we basically have like a narration to help everybody through it. And then boom, a musical video. Then a narration, then a video. Then we have some interstitials. And again, bringing a lot of it has to do with displaced people. Because for me, there's a connection between like the roots of all of this country that we've built. You know, that it all comes back and we have to fix it. Now, I've been married 14 years. I know how to fix it. And like that's taught me a lot being married. I'm just saying. I don't talk about my family much in public, but being married has been like, that's been my golden teacher. Like, it's not about, before I open that door, I'm like, it's not about you. Hello. You got a problem? Okay. And then my other one I learned the last 5 years, I go, how can I help? And I'm telling you, so I feel like I want to take what I learned being married and fix the world. Fix the world, why not? He ain't been married long enough, so he don't know. What 1 year? Please.
What was funny was I was about to ask you what you learned, but you automatically put it out there. Like, you know what to do. But one of the things that I'm struck by is there's a lot that you want to contribute. There is a lot that you want to invest in and provide opportunities and resources for. And I feel like a lot of that when I read the things that you say and the goals that you have, it feels really rooted in elevating the Bay Area. Like there's something about Oakland, the Bay Area, the sound, the rhythm, the people, the vibe that I feel like you really want to get out there in a way that maybe you're worried it's fading. Anyway, can you talk a little bit about that?
I will talk on that. I want to say that I'm very careful. Like, I don't feel like I'm providing anything for anybody. I don't like that. It's more like I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do as a member of the tribe. You know what I mean? I'm just doing my part. And if my nephew, if I can keep him out of jail, then he's not going to rob you. And if there's kids and I'm walking down the street and I'm scared of them kids, that means I didn't do my job. You understand? Like, I need to go to the neighborhood that I'm afraid of and just get to know one person. Everybody out there. The stuff that makes you comfortable is the stuff that makes you grow. So I want to just first say that. I just have a space and people come and they provide the opportunity for themselves. And that's amazing because ain't nothing like working for it. It is a beautiful thing. I learned that growing weed. I had the best, biggest, man. I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's amazing when you work for, when I grew weed, I learned about you. I learned about you. You know what I learned? You got to plant. My friend's a fuck up. He grow weeds too. So guess what happened? He fucks his weed up all the time. Why? Environment. It's just a plant. You're just a plant. If you take that plant, give it its proper nutrients, give it the air, the sunlight, the artificial sunlight we had, give it the time, give it the energy, give it the attention, give it the food, give it the space to grow. Man, that plant provides for you, just like that person provides for you. So that, I feel very powerfully about that. Like, it's about, you have the environment, treat people good, amazing, they're gonna be amazing. And I don't think I deserve any credit for that. Now I forgot the rest of the question.
Well, you answered it pretty
Okay,
much,
good.
but I think it was also just more like if you had to describe what it is that's
okay.
special about here that you really...
This is special, man, I'm telling you. I was born in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. It's called the Berkshires. And I used to think it was hell, like being like one of the only black people, but as I grew up, I realized that it's also just a part of me. Like those waspy, stiff New England people in the 70s, that was good for me. That was actually really good for me. Because when I got around everybody, I remember when I was little, they was like, no, get him. Let him talk to the police. And I knew, I was like, yeah, white people, I know them. Hey, officer, like, what are you doing there? Yeah. I knew how to do it. So it was like a tool that I had in my toolbox because I was exposed to people that were different from me. But when I landed here in 1980, I just ran away from home and never came back. Never saw my father again. He passed away, which is sad, and didn't see my mother till I was 19. Because at that time, I recognized, oh my God, this place is magical. Holy shit, this is incredible. It was the beginning of hip hop. People were breakdancing on the corner. MCs were battling on the corner. Punk rockers with safety pins through their nose. Like, it was counterculture. It was beautiful, man. And it was everyone. It was an incredible rainbow of people. And I knew, I was like, this place is special. And I want to feel it. I want to taste it. I want to live it. And why do I think it's special? Because these very people were the people that like, come over to our house and eat. Some of those parents knew. Come eat. Come, yeah, you're friends with my kid, I get it. And the lady who's still my friend, 40 years later, she would say to me back then, just take care of him. These people were the children of judges. That's why the Bay Area is special to me. I go to Chinatown. Chinatown was safe. That's why I just walk around. I was a kid at 12-year-old just walking around smoking cigarettes, in Chinatown. And Chinese people is nice. Sometimes just gave me some food. They kind of knew. There's a Burmese guy. He's amazing. He's still selling his stuff on Telegraph. Knew me since I was a runaway. Couple dollars, stay out of trouble. The Chinese man who owns the donut shop up on Telegraph. Donut King, who's been there? Donut. That guy remembers me when I was a little asshole walking around causing trouble. Hey, you, come here. Chinese man, come here. Come here. Take the donut holes. He knew. Still my friend. That's why it's special.
So, one last question for you about the album. I mean, this is a different kind of new album.
It's different.
And it's a complex historical story. It's incredibly personal. What do you hope people end up taking away from it?
I promise I can make it short. I just hope that I want grandma talk to me. I mean, I'm just a vessel that they just say, hey guys, we made it happen at the peak of the worst things that were happening in American society. It was 1759. It wasn't even a country yet. And they were an interracial, forbidden union. But somehow, through whatever it was, even let's give Henry Jones, I gotta come over to this side, because it's like, we gotta recognize that people are people. People make choices, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. Sometimes they're great, sometimes it's horrible. Even whatever happened in that system, my grandparents were allowed to live. And as I look at that one, it's only a document I have, it shows the kids. It says she had several mulatto children, and it shows all the kids. And there's one guy, George Gallimore, and then that becomes he's the guy, the son that I'm from. So I want people to, I said it was gonna be short. I want you to, they want you to know, they want you to know that they did it. They did it. They succeeded. They made it. They lived. And their obstacles were far greater. Their challenges were much deeper, much more treacherous. So I want you to, all the obstacles you see out there, all the toxic shit you see on the internet, all the bad things, let that become your fuel to do something good and to do something productive and to reach out to the other person, especially the person that disagrees with you. That is really, it's the Trump supporters that I have on Twitter that I get the most interesting exchanges with. And they'll be polite, they'll go, I know we disagree, I love your music, but it's my opportunity to, and I can't stand all that stuff that those people stand for, but they're my neighbors. We live together, and if we can't somehow find that road to learn from each other on, I don't know what the future will be like. So I thought Grandma Gallimore and Grandpa Courage are just, what is the word, exemplary people.
Turn the bull.
Take the bullshit and turn it into good shit. That's right, yeah, that's what it's really all about. It's simple, it's simple.
We've been talking with
It ain't easy.
We've been talking with Fantastic Negrito, Grammy Award-winning musician, founder and owner of Storefront Records, record label based in West Oakland. We heard some brand new songs off his new album. Give it up one last time for Fantastic Negrito. I'm Mina Kim.
And I'm Alexis Madrigal. This has been Forum Live.
One more song?
I was gonna ask. They want you to play one more. Thank you.
Classic. Happy? I'm so happy I cried. You better I get it. Okay. It's a democracy. What do you say?
You better have a gun.
You better have a gun is kind of heavy. I don't know if I want to play You Better Have a Gun. How do you guys feel happy or heavy? All right, happy. Let's go happy. We can't do, but we do have a song, You Better Have a Gun.
on, clap. So nothing. That's it. I'm happy this morning. 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 I'm happy. I'm so happy that I cry. I wrote this song with Tank from Tank and the Bangers. She's not here. That's right. That's right. Oh yeah. Listen, back in 1999, touch everything that I could find. Used to scratch and sniff all night, searching for that friend of mine. Caught the devil in disguise, still deep disher in her pie. All them things that make me high, now make me sit and wonder why. But I never gave up, I never gave up, I never gave up. No, I never gave up, I never gave up, I never gave up. Well, I'm so happy, I'm so happy I cry. Oh, I'm so happy I cry. Don't you know today, I feel so glad to be alive. Oh, I'm so happy I cry. Well, I'm so happy I cry. Oh, I'm so happy I cry. Don't you know today, I feel so glad to be alive. Oh, I'm so happy I cry. Now I got $1 million range, ace, king, queen, damn, jack of spades. I'm ungrateful, I can't lie. I can't sleep at night, I try. Slipping deep into the hole, sliding down the stripper's pole. I'm glad mama's still alive. If I could reach her, I would try. But I never gave up. I never gave up. I never gave up. No, I never gave up. I never gave up. Don't give up. I never gave up. Well, I'm so happy. I'm so happy I cry. Oh, I'm so happy I cry. Don't you know today? Feel so glad to be alive. Oh, I'm so happy I cry. Well, I'm so happy. I'm so happy I cry. Oh, I'm so happy I cry. Don't you know today? I feel so glad to be alive, y'all. Oh, I'm so happy I cry. Today we wake up to another morning sun. Today we wake up to another morning. Today we wake up. Today we wake up. Today we wake up. Oh! Come on. I'm happy this morning. 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 I'm so happy that I cry. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.